Hey everybody, how you doing? Happy Friday. I am here to talk about And Just Like That, along with my good friend Nekia and Nichelle. We are a little bit late. I am late. It's my fault. But, we got a lot to talk about. If you've watched the latest episode, get ready because we're going to talk about it all. But if you have not, let me just start by saying there will be spoilers. Hi, Lucky Baby Doll. So I'm looking closely to see when Nekia is going to join. Where are you? There she is. Come on, Nekia. Hi, how you doing?
I am hanging in there, girl. It's cold as hell in Chicago.
I know. It's
Girl,
like crazy. What's the temperature today? The high?
let me look at my watch. -2. Now, Siri said that it's 5 degrees, but I don't believe her. She be lying because that's what it feels like, -2.
Listen, girl, I went to school in Northwestern, so I know at Northwestern, so I get those cold Chicago days, girl. It is nothing like it. And I was right on Lakeshore Drive. That's where our dorm was. So we had to walk, from the dorm to the classroom.
Girl,
No joke.
girl, when you get closer to the lake, it's colder. I don't know if people know.
Yeah.
And it is literally no joke.
It's no joke. It is no joke. So how you doing? You look great as always.
So do you. Thank you. I'm doing good. I'm hanging in there. Every time with And Just Like That, when I think like, okay, this episode is not gonna have enough to talk about, and then I'm like, psych, I psych myself out. There's so much to cover on this episode.
So much to talk about, but I know you sent me a couple of articles and you talked about speaking of the show and Chris Noth or Noth, who played Big, and there's just been it's almost like every week. At first it was like every day, but now every week there's something. I think there's up to 5 women with accusations of either sexual harassment or sexual assault against him.
Mm-hmm. Girl, the list grows longer and longer by each week. And the new thing now is he will be cut out of the finale of In Just Like That. I read the article. It came from BuzzFeed News. And at first I thought it was like 2 or 3. Now, like you said, we've gotten up to 5. So, ooh, I mean, there's multiple women. I can see we can keep denying at maybe one, but like there's multiple women coming forward, and this has really impacted him career-wise, and I'm pretty sure financially.
Yeah, in every way. And it'll be interesting to see because he has held steady. Happy New Year, everybody. He has held steady with his innocence. He is saying that I'm not guilty of any of these charges. So I wonder what will happen. I wonder how, because this is, to your point, financially, this is his livelihood, right? He was dropped not just from this show. Well, I mean, he wasn't dropped from this show because he died, but they were going to bring him back. I think in the final episode, that's been edited out, as you mentioned. He was part of the Equalizer, the show over on CBS with Queen Latifah. I wonder if he was going to be a part of the what's the NBC show that's coming back that oh dog. Dun, 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 dun.
Law and Order.
Law and Order.
Girl. I'm like, what
sing the song. But yeah, the reboot, Anthony Anderson is going to be a part of that. At one point he was part of that franchise.
Right.
I wonder if he was going to come back for that. Hey, Miss Pretty Ricky. So it's interesting, that, now, as far as his career, he's done unless he can come get some great attorney and come back. I know the song helped me. I had to think about it. Ricky is laughing at me. She's like, not the song. I was like, bum, 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 bum.
And
then you said it. And then you said Okay. So let's talk about this week's episode. A lot to unpack. Girl.
Well, can I first say this? I also had you watch this video because again, our YouTube the video of this recap gets a lot of love, and then sometimes people get mad at us. Hey, you know, it is what it is. But I just want to put out a disclaimer for me. Keep in mind, y'all, when you hear the recap and you're hearing anything from me, I do not engage in any interviews that we're talking about in Just Like That from the cast. I try
What
to
do you mean?
Well,
What
I
happened?
try to
Wait,
keep,
you gotta tell me what happened. Somebody said something?
okay, there was some pushback. Someone said about me that
Was it one person?
listen, that my comments and reviews and recaps were, you know, biased and dismissive to those that hate the show. And I thought, I wasn't even gonna watch the damn show, so let's just start there. You know, let's clear that air. And secondly, I don't try to, you know, bias my recap, my review. It is what it is. It's very authentic. It's not, you know, put on. We don't work for HBO and try to make everybody like the show. It just is what it is. So I just want to put that out there. Like, I do not try to, you know, look at stuff forward and get a sneak peek and know what's going on. Like, I literally am doing this off of my noggin. Seriously.
What? I mean, I can't even believe you're trying to defend yourself against this. Listen, let me say on behalf of B and hopefully on behalf of Nekia, HBO, if y'all wanna pay us to do this, we are available. Because listen, we're having so much fun talking about this show, even though Nekia, because she is a Kim Cattrall stan, didn't want to do the show at first. Now she's doing this whole recap thing and we're loving it and having a good time.
Absolutely.
So listen,
Yeah.
I am a long-time lover of this show. Girl, you can't please everybody. Somebody said people are nuts, and they are. Anybody who's trying to come at you for that, girl, bye.
I'm like, okay,
Goodbye.
So, when we start off with the show, let's delve into it. The opening act, I was so happy. I was like, Hercules. We see Carrie finally apartment searching for something new. And you said it, Jackie.
I hated it from the beginning. It was too white. It just does not fit who Carrie is.
I thought it was gorgeous. I thought it was absolutely,
because you love modern architecture. You love modern. That's not Carrie. Look at her old apartment. Look at the new one. Even the new one that she moved into big with. The first one that they looked in, we're going to move into with the movie with the crazy courtyard, and then the one that they moved into, I guess in the second movie, they were both old New York apartments. That just and her apartment was like old, you know, it was old architecture. This newfangled thing, girl, with things beeping and all that kind of stuff, that's not Carrie. I know, but it's not Carrie. And when she walked in, I was like, but that terrace now, I can live with that terrace.
Yes,
I can work with that terrace. So yeah, I'm happy that she's apartment hunting. I love that she's thinking about moving to a completely different part of the city. Those of us who understand New York from living there, you know, downtown after 9/11 just became, I mean, the work that they put into it, to creating this destination. I mean, they put all these fabulous stores, you know, in New York for so long, and you know this, Nekia, you had to go to Fifth Avenue, Madison Avenue, really towards the middle of the city in Midtown, or really a little above Midtown, you know, not close. You can walk from Broadway to Saks Fifth Avenue to Bloomingdale's to, you know, to this store, to Bergdorf's. All that stuff is in the same area. Or you could go into the Soho area, which has the Louis Vuitton store, the Chanel store, all these great shops, you know, right there. But downtown, after 9/11, they were like, you know what? We're going to make this a destination. Girl, they have not one, but two malls. I'm talking walk in from store to store, indoors, food courts, everything. And that is just unheard of in New York. So downtown is really, really, really nice right now. So I was excited, but it feels far. When you live in New York. When I first moved to New York to work for BET, I lived downtown. I lived in Battery Park City, and it was right on the water. And it's lovely down there, right down there where Carrie is looking. Is right near, where I lived or close to it. And it's beautiful down there. And there's a lot of new construction. So that's why we saw what she was looking at. But
I mean, square footage wise, absolutely gorgeous. Yes. And you're right. I am injecting my own, I love modern design. I cannot help it. I wish it was better for me. I always said wherever I move to, I want to be the first one to take the number one and number two. Okay. I don't need leftover, secretions in my apartment. Give me new stuff. Give me clean. I want the new construction. I want it all. Give it to me now. It happened in this apartment. I was like, I'd be damned if I move somewhere where it's all crusty and rusty, and now I gotta. No, it just don't work for me. So that's why I'm just like in love with modern construction. So when I saw that opening view, and I love the way Anthony has said to her, she was like, I love my crown molding in my old apartment. And he said, heavy on the molding, girl, because it was.
That is true in New York. That's true. But I love Anthony. I love how they're bringing him in to be a main character, which, I mean, he's been there from the beginning. So, right. We love him. And I love that he's giving you those zingers, like talking about Seema and saying, maybe I'll use her unless she's too much of a top. I was like, oh my God. Girl, I was hollering.
Yes, he keeps it real. And I love the fact that we're seeing integration of Seema. I think those two characters between Anthony and Seema are really good for Carrie. They keep it real, no filter. I mean, and that's the type of like love language that I speak. Like, yeah, keep it real with me. Let me know. Sometimes that harsh, it permeates into my mind, and I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. I'm being stubborn or whatever. But yeah, I just love the fact that they are incorporating Anthony. Again, let's just incorporate Anthony as Anthony and not trying to incorporate him as, I'm going to say it.
I know, because I was going to say, did it make you miss Kim Cattrall less? Did it make you miss Samantha? Are you missing her less as these episodes go on? Come on now.
No.
Does it take you? No.
I'm sorry. No. I mean, like, I could see where that scene, I could see Samantha being there. I can see that. Like, and I see the moments where she could have been there and they had to rewrite that or, edit that to put someone else in that place. So yeah, like, there's no way. I mean, you just cannot, she's irreplaceable.
Yeah. And people agree with you. Somebody said there's nothing replaces Sam. Let's talk about, since we're talking about Carrie moving, can we talk about the scene where she and Charlotte went to that storage unit? Girl, I said, okay, is this what storage units are supposed to look like? Because mine is a disaster zone. Like, there should be orange cones up. And I was like, this is so well organized. The boxes are all on top of each other, and there are no big, heavy-duty trash bags.
Let me tell you something. She gave me some damn pointers. I saw it was an organization system in place. I was looking at the boxes behind her. She had a checklist and what's in this box.
And labeled.
Like, and I was confused.
Not in Sharpie, like my storage. Everything's written in Sharpie. Girl, there's like, and it's like, there are question marks. It's like sweaters, question. In my storage unit.
It gave me pointers. I'm like, she has the Dewey Decimal System up in here. What the hell?
Well, that's why they could go in heels and fabulous hats. That's why they can do that when they go to storage. Girl, I got like on sweats, old tennis shoes, because I don't want them getting dusty, sweats that I can bend in and move around in. I can't be wearing no cute jeans or something like that. Oh wait, Something of Wonder said I'll come and organize y'all storage units for you. Girl, listen, don't say it if you don't mean it.
Right.
It's a job. It's a job.
Right.
Girl,
right. You don't want to sign up for that shit.
Girl, listen, and in my storage unit, I got the one where it's light sensitive. Right. And you can't like flick on a light. So if you've been in there for a while, everything goes dark. So you got to move around and run out into the hall to make the lights come back on. Girl, I hate going there. It's the creepiest place. It's so creepy. They made it so creepy. Fabulous. It's creepy.
It's so creepy. Hers was so
She said, I mean it, I'll charge you, but I'll do it.
I mean, the bright lights, the boxes were so damn organized, and she was still confused on where shit was. I said, girl, I need you.
But even with it being that organized, she hired an assistant, so everything was being organized. Yes, that's true. That's true. No, but that was stuff from the new apartment. So yeah, from, you know, after Big died, she looks like she packed up everything and put it in this storage unit because there was like a time jump with this episode. So
yeah,
I
noticed
stored up a lot of things because we saw his suits and things like that because she had to pack up that old apartment and get out. So yeah, now she's looking for that storage unit. I was like, okay, I need that. Whoever did that. So
you can live in that motherfucker. Okay. You can live in there.
You can live in there. You can eat in there. Listen, you can do a lot of things in there. It was so clean.
Miranda could have had sex in there. That's where she should have been.
She probably would. She probably would because she is way out of control. You want to talk about Miranda now? Can we talk about
I want to talk about the scene where they went to dinner and it was Miranda, Carrie, and Charlotte. And at first I'm like, okay, so we're not gonna get into it. I mean, that was such a big episode 5 was such a big scene with her, with Miranda, you know,
and Che,
and like Carrie seems to be over it, you know. But
no, Carrie, the thing I do like about Carrie when she's not having a mental health episode and feeling entitled is that when I love that she can be cool about stuff. Yeah. She never has seemed like a gossipy kind of girl. And so I could see her saying to herself, that is Miranda, I may be, and she said, suggested that she and Miranda still aren't cool about it, or she's not cool with it, but that's Miranda's story to tell. Yeah. And I love that. Yeah. I love that she was like, you know what, because girl, I would have been twisted the whole dinner.
The whole dinner.
I would have been looking at her.
Right. I wouldn't have been
able. I'm like, you're not gonna tell her what you did, Charlotte. Guess what she did?
Right. No, I wouldn't have been able to break bread. I'm sorry. Oh. I did notice that Carrie allows for the room for you to tell your story when you're ready, right? Yeah. But I also come to like I can't even really kind of low key look at you for a second because like. Yeah, they got into it, but not enough for me. Like, you know, girl, you overstepped your boundaries here. You know, come on. Like,
they did have a good conversation about it. And Miranda had her say, you know, Carrie pushed her to be honest about not being happy. But Carrie had to remind her in the last episode, but you are married. But I love that moment, and I'm jumping forward just for a second. Because I see you like to go chronologically. I love that at the picnic, you know, she was like, friendship is important to her. She just lost her husband. You know, Miranda has been a friend of hers for I don't know how many years. So for her, she may be mad about it, but she's not going to throw away the friendship. Yeah. And she's not going to stew over it. She said what she had to say. She's not right with it, but she's able to move past it. And I think, you know, I definitely, it made me think a little more. I mean, I have matured into that with my friendships. I actually have to say that because, girl, I will hold a grudge to the grave and be mad about something and be like, okay, we're not friends no more. I'm done. You know, it's been, I mean, some pretty big stuff, but I think what Miranda did was pretty big. I think it was very disrespectful and inconsiderate. But, you know, listen, I love the way she handled Miranda wanting to walk away from the friendship, you know, that picnic that they were having in that moment and how she grabbed her and pulled her back. And that kind of informs how Carrie is able to sit at dinner and just kind of move on and be able to get together as friends, but not, you know, just be staring at Miranda the whole time.
Like, yeah, and Carrie's position and looking at it from her perspective, like you said, you know, I got bigger fish to fry. I just lost my husband. I'm trying to grapple with that.
I got noises in my apartment. I don't know if she had moved in there. I think she had moved in there at that point after they went to storage.
Right. Like I got bigger.
No, she hadn't moved in yet because she told them that she got that apartment. True. They thought she was still looking. Yeah.
And I want to say, going back to that night too, kudos to Carrie. Clearly she's been getting some therapy off screen, because she had some realizations that were so spot on that, like you and I recapped and talked about. She said one of the things that I think she said is she said, am I living or retreating? Hello. Yes. I'm glad that she's seeing that being in that old apartment was not necessarily mentally healthy for her. You know?
But you know what I would love to see? I would love you talk about her going to therapy or doing something off. I would love to see that as part of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think we should see. Now, I know we did, and I meant to mention this to you. We did see her go to one therapy session, but she had sex with one of the damn patients, and that was some crazy ass sex that was going on. You know?
Yeah. I'm talking about now. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I think that they should incorporate that, just because mental health is having good mental health is such an important thing to people nowadays. So if we saw her doing that and going along that journey, and you need it, let's be clear, let's be real, you know?
I want to see, there are things that they leave out of this show and kind of always have. To me, like, these women are in incredible shape. I mean, you can see that sheer dress that Carrie had on. You know, you can see Sarah Jessica Parker is in such great shape, you know, and so are all the ladies. They really are in great shape. They have great bodies. I'd love to see them going to the gym. I'd love to see them, you know, at least saying, you know what, this is the way I eat so I can stay this or stay that. I'd love to see them doing some kind of, you know, fast or cleanse or something that has to do with wellness, you know, aside from smoking. You know, it's like which, you know, can suppress your appetite. It's like, what is Carrie doing to maintain? Like, she's never worked out, but her body has always been amazing. And same with Samantha.
Yes.
You know, back in the day, you never see them going to the gym. So I'd love to see, that's just me. When I see them, you know, in these fabulous clothes and these small sizes, I'm like, let's see some realness about them maintaining this. And we're getting a lot of love. Someone was saying that I think Carrie understands that Miranda is in the weeds and understands being closer to Miranda is more important than being mad. Something of Wonder said that. And then Lula B Design says, but it looks like she is staying in an old apartment because of all the boxes that were with her in the end in her the apartment. I guess I read that wrong.
Well, I think what she's trying to say, yes, at the end we saw her back apartment she shared with Big, but we didn't see her in her Roach Motel apartment.
Did she have a rat in there one time, or a mouse?
Yes, girl. Yes, she had it all. And I'm sorry. I mean, so I'm glad she's not in that one. The trap house is what I call it. She got out of that one, and she, you know, she's coming to terms with, so if she lives in the apartment her and Big shared together, then I support that. I didn't want her going back to that 20-year-old apartment. And that's where she ended up. That's where she is now. But I think I kind of enjoy her searching for a new apartment as part of the series. I am enjoying that. I do have to say, because I love, even though it's crazy expensive, I am curious about New York real estate. I love seeing, because there's, you know, it's so unique, the different buildings, different apartments that you find. It's so, I always say living in New York is like living in a different country. It's just so different, the rules, and especially when it comes to real estate. So I can't wait to see where she ends up. Yeah. Oh, the one with Big sold, so she's not going back there. So it'll be interesting to see where she ends up. I love that we had a moment on this show where Professor Nia and her husband went out to dinner with another Black couple. I love that it didn't involve any of the main characters, because now we're seeing Professor Nia, played by Karen Pittman, becoming really a main character, if you will. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think the same with Seema, and with Nicole, Ari Parker's character. And Miranda said this,
because when she was on The View, and you sent me that clip, she talked about how somebody was asking her about Kim Cattrall not being a part of the show anymore. And how was it with just those three? She said, well, it's really not us three, just not we three. She said the show has expanded, and Che included. She said now there's really 7 core characters. And she included Che in that as well. And I love that. So I love that moment where they went to dinner and it was absent of any connection aside from, Professor Nia knowing, Cynthia Nixon's character, Miranda. That was it. It was all her story and all her moment. And I love that. I love seeing on this show that was heavily criticized for really not having diversity when it was a TV series back in the day, having a moment with 4 Black people out at dinner.
Yes.
And dealing with, fertility and all. Like, I loved that moment.
Yes, I absolutely loved it too. Absolutely loved it. I loved it down to the fact that she, reached out to Miranda and they had their little, conversation, a private moment in the park. And, her and Miranda are developing more of a friendship, and to where they're sharing more personal things. And Miranda has become a confidant for Professor Nia. And I love to see that. I love the candidness. And this is something that we talked about in our last recap about stop asking women about their damn uterus, and how people feel, that dynamic between someone that has kids and someone that doesn't, and is trying, but now this one over here keeps pushing, you should have a kid. Like, leave us alone, please. Are you going to help raise this child? If not, please be quiet.
It's stressful enough, and going through IVF, I've never gone through it, but I know it is grueling on your body, on your emotions. And when the other couple, when the husband said, you two are just the kind of couple that just needs to be having a baby, I was like, oh, you know what I mean? That is just, and I hope that by having these conversations that it teaches people, because sometimes people say things without thinking, and there's just no self-awareness in the things that they say, and they don't mean any harm. He probably meant that as a compliment. You guys are this great couple, a baby would just, but people have to start thinking about what they say, particularly to women, when it comes to having families, when it comes to having children. I always say to people on Mother's Day, stop going around and saying happy Mother's Day to all women. All women are not mothers. You do not know whether that woman had a miscarriage 2 weeks ago, whether someone lost a child. It's like whether someone had a bad relationship with their mother. Not everybody celebrates Mother's Day. All women are not mothers. So it's just like, it drives me nuts when I bump into people and they're like, happy Mother's Day, sis. And I'm like, I'm not a mom, I want to say, but I finally said, let me just let it go as far as my personal interactions. But I do say things on social media, and we have to be more sensitive to that. We just have to be. And so many people, particularly women, will push back about that when I've said things like this on social media. I want to say happy Mother's Day, blah, 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 nah, nah, nah. I can say what I want to say. I think all women are queens and blah, blah. Okay, we can all be queens. But just be aware that women walk different journeys, and, everybody is not doing the same thing, and everybody doesn't want to do the same thing. And we have to be aware of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It gets on my nerves, that Mother's Day thing, child. Clearly.
I'm glad that they're addressing it. I think it needs to be addressed. Same thing in this episode, they really touched on plastic surgery, facelifts, Botox injections. And I absolutely love this episode with touching on that and showing how, social media, the doctor said, social media has been influencing people in the way that they perceive themselves.
Yeah.
And so I think it's needed, because as we spoke about in like the recap of the first 2 episodes, and I was like, did Charlotte, or I forget what her real name is, girl, I'll be forgetting. Did Charlotte have any fillers? Not
Kristen Davis,
thank you. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that. I just sometimes the overboard portion of it. I'm a champion. Get your nose job, girl. Get your lipo, girl. Get it. Get it off.
Yeah.
You know, but then when it becomes overboard, because there's this fine line between not, you know, self-love and just, you know, wanting to get a little bit of boost, you know, it can go wrong. It could get overboard, in my opinion.
But I think we gotta it's like when, you know, I think with what, you know, people were noticing with Charlotte, particularly in the first episode with, you know, changes to her face. I think it's like, I think the moral of the story here is what they're saying is you just got to let people live their lives and not comment on it. I think it is a commentary about it, particularly from people that don't know her journey. It's like, you can tell most of the time when someone's had work, just like you can tell when somebody has a big pimple on their face. You're not going around and saying, girl, I see that pimple on your face. That must be horrible. What you putting on that? You gonna pop it? You gonna pop it, girl? What you gonna do? Sometimes you just gotta let things be.
Right.
You just gotta, you may notice them, but what I feel like we need to learn as a society to start doing, unless someone is harming themselves or really going overboard with something, that we need to just let people do what they're going to do and process it and just practice a bit of decorum and just let people, you know, we don't have to comment on everything. You know what I mean? We don't have to talk about everything, particularly when it comes to women's appearances. And I'm glad that they went to this plastic surgeon. Yeah. And I'm glad he showed, like, digitally what Carrie could look like if she had this nip and tuck and did this and did that. And I was like, wow, you know, that would be different. And it would be, by societal terms, you know, from what we consider pretty, it would be an improvement, right? But I loved that he was like, you could take 15 years off your life. And for her, it was like, you know, your face is a part of you. It is a part of your character. And for her, it is part of who you are. It has been on this journey with us, our faces. And so maybe for her, she's saying, you know what I mean? And it seems like Carrie is saying, that's not for me. But I'm glad they had the conversation, particularly because all of these actresses that are part of this show, not the men, but the women, have really been just beaten up, girl. Woo, people have been giving them a hard time about aging, about just, you look old. You know, that, which is crazy to me. We have got to stop, girl. And I'm gonna get off my TED Talk. We have got to stop, you know, beating women up for deciding to just age or deciding to do something about it and get a little Botox, get a little nip tuck, get a little this, get a little that. Just let them live. You know, treat it like you see a pimple on their face and just keep it moving.
I had said it earlier. I mean, it's the same thing. It's like, you know, they do it and keep it natural. Oh, you're looking old, you're looking fat, you're looking saggy, you're looking baggy, you're looking draggy.
Yeah.
Then you go and get the damn surgery. Well, why do you do that? You know,
come on.
So, like, there's no pleasing. So you do it for you. But you know, sometimes people mutilate themselves in the process. If you don't have self-love. So if you've been practicing self-love and you want a little boost, do it. I have no qualms about it. Okay, because
I haven't either, girl. Listen, I will say all the time, I haven't done it yet, but it's not like I haven't considered it. And it's not like and when I do it, y'all treat it like a pimple. Just be like, I ain't saying nothing.
Act like you didn't even know.
Act like you don't see it.
Right.
Act like, oh, Jackie, wow, you look great.
That's all I need to hear.
Girl, and why do people tell women they look tired? That one drives me crazy. Even if somebody looks tired, don't tell them they look tired. But I love that moment when Charlotte, when I love the picnic moment. I love that conversation, and I love how Charlotte reacted to Miranda's news that she had sex, a little sexual moment with Che, And Miranda, got mad and was gonna walk off. I couldn't believe it. And we know that she's not drinking anymore. Like, I love that they had that conversation.
Yeah.
And I love that Charlotte was upset about it, but explained why she was upset about it. She's like, you're having an affair. And the way that Miranda, for those of us who remember the series, had reacted when Carrie was cheating with Big on Aiden, and the fact that he was married and she was cheating with him, she was pissed, right? She was so upset. Miranda always had this high ground. And when Steve cheated, she put him out. It was done. They couldn't even work on things. She was done, right? So it's like, now here you are cheating on one of the most beloved characters from this show, Steve. I mean, does Brooklyn Bridge mean nothing? Does that Brooklyn Bridge moment mean nothing?
Let me tell you something.
Come on.
First
I'm
of
not
all,
on board for this.
I knew the cheating was going to happen. But first of all, let's be clear. When Charlotte, Miranda, and Carrie were discussing it at the picnic, and Charlotte said, "You're having an affair." And what did Miranda say? "No, I'm not." She is in denial, girl. Okay,
she's having a Bill Clinton moment. She's like, it depends on what your definition of having an affair is. It depends on what.
She is trying to dissect the damn affair, and it's like, we are not doing that. That is not what we're gonna do. You are having an affair, girl.
Yeah, you're cheating, and she's still not telling her husband. You know what I mean? She's still like, at least have that moment where you're saying you've been intimate with another person in a major, you having the best orgasm of your life, and you don't think you're having an affair?
And let me tell you something. I am like, Miranda is definitely gonna go down this path, because when she said to Charlotte, "Well, it was a finger," I don't care if it was a nose, girl. It was still damn cheating.
I don't care if it was a big toe.
Right. It is still cheating. You are having, intensity, passion for someone else. You're thinking about them. You're, masturbating about them. Having fantasies, girl. It's an affair. Wake the hell up. I don't know what you talk. So she's gonna go down this path because she feels that what she's doing is not an affair. So what's the big deal? You know what I mean? But she doesn't know what she's doing. Going back onto your recap from the last time, she doesn't know what she's doing. Charlotte yelled out, "You're having a midlife crisis."
She is.
I don't think that she is.
I think she is. She's clearly having a midlife crisis. I think she's unhappy with her life. She switched her job. She's unhappy in her marriage. She is reaching out. She is acting out. Whether or not, listen, I am not a part of the LGBTQ community, so I can't speak from authority on this. And anyone who is, please weigh in. I don't think that this means that she is a lesbian. I don't think that this even means that she's going to go down a path of officially, coming out as bisexual. I don't know what this means. I think that she is just she's in search of some excitement in her life and something that's different. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would love comments from people from the LGBTQ community who don't know about every experience, but might be able to weigh in on this. And let me just say this, because I know you're gonna get on me about these comments. Somebody said, and I forgot about this, they did show them working out in the series. Samantha had a personal trainer. Charlotte always ran in Central Park. Miranda ran a marathon and worked out in the gym. But Carrie never works out on that show.
She didn't like working out.
Never said, yeah, exactly. She didn't like it. And that body, I was looking at her body. I was like, she is in such great shape. Did you see that sheer dress with those black shorts under there?
Girl, compared to me, everybody's in great shape. Okay.
Girl, listen.
I cannot wait until I lose these pandemic pounds or whatever the hell kind of pounds they are.
Girl, you and me both. I'm starting, listen, Monday is the first day of the rest of my life. New Year's Day was the first day of the rest of my life, but then I blew that. So Monday, January 10th, is the first day.
Already? You already blew your rest.
Girl, just why? Because listen, I'm gonna do this Daniel fast, where, girl, you can't have any oil, it's vegan, so I'm already doing that part. So that part's easy. No oil at all. No processed foods. except you can have tofu and corn tortillas and no alcohol for 4 weeks.
Okay, so the alcohol part got me.
Listen, Rhonda says so much good stuff in this episode, and I love the episodes are 40 minutes. Yeah, the extra 10 minutes gives us the extra time we need to get through the next episodes. That is so true. I love how long they are. And can we just talk about the fashion for a minute? One of the things that I have loved about Sex and the City over the years, particularly when it comes to Carrie's fashion, but now I'm loving the fashion of everybody, particularly the new women, but Carrie just gives you new trends. She just goes a step beyond, you know, what you would expect. Like when she had those boots, the pants inside the boots ballooning out, like I haven't seen that in years, but I loved it on her. I love the hats that I love how daring she is and how many risks she takes for fashion. And girl, you know, I be taking notes. I'm like, I love everything she wears. Let me get that in a vegan size 10. But the fashion on this show with all the women is just incredible. I love what Karen Pittman's character had on that jogging suit with the vest and those shoes with the big chain, the exaggerated chain. Like the fashion on this show is just no show on TV.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but when Carrie went to the doctor's appointment with Anthony, was she wearing one of big suits? I feel
no. But she had those suspenders on. No, she didn't. Those suspenders were amazing.
They were
no, she did not have on one of big suits until the very end, where she had that jacket on and she went out in that fabulous dress. No, that was her suit, because oversized blazers are really on trend right now. And she had them on, I think, 2 times, oversized blazers of her own in this episode. And then in the final moment, we saw her with Big's jacket on, which is so on trend right now, girl. You know I love fashion. So yeah, Carrie has been giving you oversized blazers, and I am loving it. And there are actual podcasts out there that talk specifically about the fashion.
You told me. Now listen to this. I saw someone comment and they said that Cynthia Nixon, they said, remember, she was married with a whole husband and 2 kids and decided to become a lesbian. So it is very possible.
No, I'm not saying that it's not possible, but I'm saying she also is going through a midlife crisis. So I think that there's similarities through men who, you know, reach, you know, middle age and they go and date somebody who's 20 and they get a fast car and they start dressing like they're 20 and they make all these changes because they're, you know, I guess they're, you know, death is staring them in the face, or they're just feeling something. And so they're chasing something. And so like Charlotte said, she's going through a midlife crisis. It's not, I don't think that the actress, Cynthia Nixon, was going through a midlife crisis. You know what I mean? I think that Miranda is. So I think it's 2 different things. That's just my opinion, right? That's just me from the outside looking in. I don't think that, but I could be wrong. You know what I mean? She could land somewhere and end up in a relationship with Che. But again, my point is, as someone who loves the relationship between Miranda and Steve and loves Steve's, I feel that whether Miranda is getting with a man or getting with a woman, I feel that it is a mistake to go in this direction with her to the point where her relationship with Steve is over. Well, because through this series and through the movies, they have been through so much. And I get it, you know, relationships end, but that's like the one I would love to see just maintain the test of time. But that's just me.
I like Harry and Charlotte's relationship. You know, there's
Carrie ain't in no relationship. Her husband's dead.
No, Harry and Charlotte.
Oh, Harry. Yes, I do too. But that has always, once they got together and got married, there's been no struggles. Once Charlotte realized that Harry and his hairy back was the man for her, you know what I mean? They've had a fairy tale kind of a marriage. Their marriage has been and continues to be a fairy tale. Miranda and Steve have been, girl, in the trenches. They have been through it. They've been through it, and they're still together. And listen, people break up, relationships, people evolve, people change. I get it. But it's not just that. It's just like after, the virus, after George Floyd's death, and Miranda talked about this, or Cynthia Nixon talked about this, she quit her job. There's a lot going on with her. It's not just her relationship, right? It's her life. It's everything.
Yes.
So I feel like decisions that you make in that space aren't necessarily the best decisions for you, or things that will stand the test of time. I think she's acting out. Where she lands with all of this, I'd be interested to see.
I honestly think, after seeing that clip of Cynthia Nixon on The View talking about her character, and she said, we as viewers are going to see Miranda kind of, go through something and go through some challenging things because of what happened, the pandemic. And I was like, oh, I was right about that. I knew that had some influence on what she was going through, specifically the drinking, because I saw some reports of women really having a hard time, during the pandemic, and they became alcoholics, for whatever reason. We had seen, I don't know if you heard about this, but a lot of divorces.
A lot of people were breaking up. A lot of people quit their jobs. A lot of people have shifted during this pandemic. And it wasn't just the pandemic. It was the, racial unrest of this country. It was, the politics of this country, the Trumpism and everything that's come. It's how divided we are as a country. And, whether or not you can go to a restaurant and have to wear a mask or do this or do all these guys. It's everything that's going on, on top of that. And for a lot of couples, as you mentioned, people breaking up, you're for a long time, we were trapped at home, couldn't go nowhere. Hopefully you had a good, partner you were at home with, because hopefully your living conditions, incidences of abuse went up. For women and children, because they couldn't go anywhere. They had to stay in the household with their abusers. So it was a crazy time. And it continues to be. Fortunately we can get out a little bit more, but so I'm with you. I agree. I just don't think that this necessarily means that her sexuality has changed forever. I feel like she is acting out because of everything that's going on in her life, but I could be wrong. I'm curious to see where it lands.
Well, as you know, I told you she's hooked on Che, and already immediately, expediently hit up, girl. Now, after that experience, talking about I felt the more alive, I knew. I said a text message or a meetup, another one is coming. I mean, she is hooked like a drug on Che. And
and we'll see what happens. We'll see how Che treats her, because Che hadn't called her. Is Che hooked on her too, or is Che just having a good time?
Yes.
You know what I mean? So Something of Wonder said it's easier to blow up your life talking about Miranda with actions than it is to actually talk about it. Rhonda says Miranda is going to get her feelings hurt calling herself Rambo. I know she is. Miranda texted Che. Gina says to meet up again. Affair. Yes, it is an affair. Even in her mind, her fantasizing, she's having an affair. The way she's thinking, she is. It's ongoing.
It is.
Rhonda says she's agreed she's lost.
If it's something that you're not telling your husband, it's an affair. Because why haven't we told Steve yet?
Yeah. Exactly. Now, Something of Wonder said Miranda's broken. She wants to feel something. Che made her feel something that seems to be the biggest connection to Che. She seems to have the same connection with Naya. Yes, just in a platonic way. Yes, she's reaching out. Yes, Rhonda. The cummerbund, the suspenders. It was amazing, girl. The fashion. Oh, Niecy Nash did it too. She decided to be with a woman. Yep.
I was going to mention that. Thank you, whoever said that. I was going to mention that.
That was Lula B Design said that about. Yep.
Yes.
True. Listen, I'm not saying it's not possible. I am not saying it's not possible.
And Niecy Nash, she's still very smitten.
Something of Wonder says Cynthia is bisexual. And somebody brought up in an article that I read that Miranda, when Samantha had that relationship with a woman on, remember the Latin woman she had that relationship with, that Cynthia, that Miranda gave her the business, gave her the hardest time, gave her the hardest time.
No, but you know what was interesting during the picnic that Charlotte said, and I was like, ooh, that was a stinger. She told Miranda, "You're not progressive enough for this." I said, "Oh, that Charlotte coming with the heat."
I said, "Okay, Charlotte. Okay, okay, Charlotte."
I said, "Oh shit, Charlotte. Okay, I see you, girl. You came with the real today."
See, but we don't know. We will see. I'm curious to see where this goes. We got 4 more episodes left. So we'll see. What did you think about Carrie going with Seema? I love this friendship. I really do. The smoking is getting on my nerves, but whatever. I just, girl, I just hate smoking. Lala says she thinks that Steve and Miranda may end up having an open marriage. The happy medium says 20 someone. The happy medium is making her pan where you love the person, not their sexuality. Yeah.
You know, the deal that I thought was pretty funny with Miranda, and when she was masturbating and her son, I know he wasn't giving no judgmental eye, when he heard his mama moaning, because when you was breaking down the damn walls, little boy,
thank you, banging the bed on the wall,
I don't want to,
and kissing at the recital. This kid is out, he can't say nothing. She should have told him, come in. Come in. And be like, what you want? I'll get back with you. And I would have let him see that. He deserved to see his mother masturbating. Live with that, Brady. Live with that. He deserved. Oh, girl, that would have been. He needed to see. I would have been like, come on in, baby. Hold on. Let mama finish. Wait a minute. Hold it. Let mama finish. Hold on. let burn that in his brain.
Now you feel the uncomfortableness, right?
Now you see what you doing.
Right. I said he better not turn up in the nose or nothing. I better not see nothing. Weird blinking, but he sure did do it. Like, don't act like I didn't hear you 2 weeks ago banging down the walls.
Girl, I would have recorded myself and sent and emailed him a link with me having sex and be like, run tell that. You run tell that. That's what it's like living with you. P.S. Get your own damn apartment. Move out. If you don't want to hear and see, girl, I would be in his bed doing it when he walked in. I would do it everywhere in the house. I'd be in the kitchen in the morning. He deserves
that was his damn punishment for that shit 2 weeks ago. Okay.
Girl, I know. But I love.
Oh wait,
I was gonna say when Carrie.
Here's a moment. The girlfriend finally went home.
Did she?
Yes, that's where he was. Remember when he was knocking on the door? That's where he said he was going.
Oh, well, she does go. She doesn't live there. She does go home. I know it seems like it. She does not live there, but she's always there because, as she said, her mom would kill her if they were acting that way at their house, at her house. No parent would do this. I'm telling you, Miranda is in crisis mode. I just don't get it. You know what I'm wondering though? I wonder when she finally, if she has this conversation with Steve about where she is, I wonder where he is with the relationship. Because there are 2 people in this relationship. And if she's unhappy, is he unhappy? Mm-hmm. Probably not, knowing Steve, but it would be interesting to see his perspective on where they are in a relationship.
Insane.
And whether he's like, you know what, cool.
And what's
do you, Miranda?
What's his job? Huh? Why isn't he at home?
Girl, he owns a bar. He runs a bar now.
Okay. He still
so we just don't see him. He's out, who knows.
Okay.
Working.
I was wondering, I didn't know if Steve changed jobs because I know he was doing the bar, but
he was bartending and now he owns it. As she said, like in the second episode, the liquor that they had at the memorial service for Big was from his bar.
True.
So that let us know that he owns a bar now, which is nice.
True.
which is nice. Yay, Steve. Good for Steve.
Yeah.
Good for him. Good for him. So I'm trying to think of any other moments that I loved from this show. There were so many. And we didn't talk about Charlotte.
Yeah.
And Rocky. I think that she is. Somebody said to me, Steve is useless. He only seems to care about his ice cream delivery. What ice cream delivery? I thought he has a bar. Are you talking about the bread delivery with Anthony? Who has ice cream delivery? I don't know what that is. What am I missing? Okay, listen, I can't see everything. But I love that. Interesting note, when Carrie went with Seema to visit her family.
Yes.
Her husband, no, I'm sorry, the father, the actor that plays Seema's father, I saw this on social media, also was in an earlier Sex and the City series episode.
Wasn't the mom though too? I
don't know, but the father was in an earlier episode playing a waiter or a busboy that Samantha kissed.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Yeah,
but I gotta look because I was looking at both of the characters and I was like, they look familiar, and I even wrote this down. I said, is Seema's parents, were they in a different episode of Sex and
the City? The father was, but I don't think he's playing the same character, because that would make sense age-wise with his daughter and all that. That wouldn't make sense. Or it might. I don't know, but I thought that was interesting. Oh, and I'm getting corrected on the ice cream. I was scared of this ice cream delivery. She means, they eat ice cream together when they're watching TV on their movie night or TV night, and that's what Something of Wonder was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. Ice cream delivery from Miranda. Yeah, that is true. That may be so. It may be cool with Steve if Miranda moves on. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I want to see that because somebody mentioned the open marriage. And it could possibly go down that route. But I honestly believe that they're going to take it down the route where this is going to be a huge affair. Excuse me. I had to burp. An affair.
Loud.
Che and Miranda. And I think this is going to be like the pivotal big part of maybe the season finale. And where's Steve going to go? Where, how is she going to tell Steve? I think we'll see that coming towards more of the finale. These couple next episodes are just going to be about them doing the oochie coochie, and that's about it.
I don't know. I hope she tells Steve like in the next episode, and if she is still hooking up with Che. My thing is, if you're unhappy in your relationship, deal with your relationship before you move on to something else. You know what I mean? Deal with that, because there's another person, whatever that situation is, put it to bed, end it, go to therapy, do what you got to do, then move on. Because that other person that you move on to becomes, it's the reason why you're with that person. So are you really with that person? Are you really interested in that person? Or are you rebounding or just looking for something else? Deal with home, girl. Deal with home.
Let me tell you, and not to put my younger brother's business out here, but girl, he is not the king of jumping from one relationship to the next. And we be trying to tell him, Bryce, take a moment to, do some soul searching. Take a moment to yourself, because you haven't ended one relationship and this is a friend, and then all of a sudden you have now, wifed the friend, or you have a relationship with this person. Girl. So, and then it makes sense to me of why your ex-wife or your ex-girlfriend was concerned about this new friend. And you understand what
in the first place.
Yeah, like just sloppy, messy, and now you're wondering why things are all haywire. Well, hello. I mean, and so I'm a big advocate for that. Yes, not all the time does that perfectly happen where we end one thing and don't move, or before moving on to the next person. But I am a huge advocate of that. I am a huge advocate of let the person know, don't play with emotion. Don't do that. Don't play them kind of heart games, because it does not end well. It does not well. And what you're doing with you're cheating on the person, because now the new person is going to have a hang up. Their issue is going to be, are you doing the same thing that you did?
Are you going to do the same thing to me? And the question is, will they? Will they?
And 9 times,
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Deal with deal with what you got to deal with in your relationship that you are committed to, that you made a commitment to. And if you're not happy, get out.
Absolutely.
Or fix it before you start bringing other people into it. It's just not right. Okay, so your prediction for next week. What are your other predictions for next week? You think that you don't think Miranda and Steve are going to have this talk until the end of the season? So what do you think we're going to see next week?
I think next week we will see Che respond to Miranda. They're going to have another session.
Hook up.
Yes, session. I think that, we're going to go on the journey with Carrie. I did like the fact that we saw Charlotte evolve a little bit as far as accepting Rocky's individuality, because I was having a problem with that, as we saw, and we didn't really touch on that too much, but them ugly ass dolls, they were kind of freaky and spooky. Put them up. When nobody wants them. There needs to be a moment. I mean, keep in mind, when I was younger, there was dolls that we had that preserved Cabbage Patch, and now as I'm older, I'm like, them things were scary looking. But put them up. Lily don't even want them damn. Put them up. They're more for you than they are for your kids. And when it starts to permeate into their individuality, then you got a problem. You're not letting them have and enjoy things that they enjoy. You're pushing upon who you are and what you want and what you do onto your children, And so I like the fact that Lily is kind of, pushing Charlotte to see certain things. She told her mom, that's cultural appropriation. These ain't even from wherever the hell you think they're from. They right here and from New York. Stop it, mom.
Right.
I love that. Like, she's setting the mom straight, and she let Rose get her hair cut, and Rocky, and let Rocky be Rocky. Wherever that journey may go, I still think that her and Harry need to. I would love to see them getting some type of outside help to navigate this space.
Support group, something like that.
So that's my prediction. What about yours?
I feel like we're going to hear more about Samantha, because I'm going to hold firm in that they are laying the foundation for Samantha Jones to come back in some kind of way. I think they're going to still flirt around with that. I think we're going to see a little bit more of that next week. Somebody mentioned, and I agree, we're going to see Carrie going out on dates. I love the way they've handled this. I love that we did the time, really a big time jump. In this episode, she's got her stuff in storage. She's looking at apartments. She'll find something new. We saw in the previews for next week that she's gonna go out on some dates. So I'm ready for that. I'm ready for.
I don't watch the previews.
You don't watch the previews?
No.
Why?
I just want to be a surprise. I want.
Oh, girl, every show I watch, I hang on for previews because I want to know girl, that's me. I'm the kind of person where you can't spoil it for me. Tell me everything. I want to know.
No, I like to see, and I'm totally opposite. I like to
well, that cat's out of the bag, but I will keep that in mind moving forward. But yeah, she's gonna go on some dates. She's gonna be doing some dating, and I'm happy about that. And I hope that Nicole Ari Parker's character comes back. I'd love to see them go inside that world without Charlotte, without Carrie, without Miranda. I love to see them let's go inside her world without everybody else, like they did with Professor Nia. I want to see that as well. And we're going to see more with Miranda and Che. I think Che is going to. I think that Che she's very kind of like live and let live. She's very carefree, but I think she knows that I think she's going to realize quickly that Miranda is kind of going through something, midlife crisis, whatever it is. And I think that I think she's being careful, but I think we'll see her. I think we're going to see more about Che and where her head is when it comes to Miranda. I think we're going to see that in the next episode. And I hope Miranda says something to Steve. I agree with you. I don't think it's going to happen, but I hope so, because he must be clueless. His wife is really very different these days. And if he's not seeing all that, I don't know what's happening.
Well, I think he's just lost in the normalcy, day in, day out, we're eating ice cream, we're doing that. So she hasn't really shown any like signs up close and personal to him. I think she's kind of keeping that part of her secret. So that's
he has to realize that she ain't drinking no more, because that was big. She was drinking with eggs and toast in the morning for breakfast. And now she's not drinking anymore. You know what I mean? And she's he has to at least hear her masturbating, no?
Maybe not. He's working late nights.
Because he can't hear. That's right. His hearing is
yes. He's working late nights at the bar. His
hair.
There's so many elements there. And I just think that goes into the true statement that, it's like they're roommates. It piggybacks off of that. And we're seeing that play out. So I think that Steve, he has a little bit of naivete about him. I don't. It's even still at his big age, and I am gonna go there again. He has a naivete about him that he's innocent. Not always, like
he's so sweet.
He's a sweetheart, but with someone like Miranda, and that's another thing, he does not challenge her. So whatever she wants to do or whatever she's gonna do, he doesn't really have much say in it, because she'll shut him down in the second. So even if he were to be like, babe, I noticed you're drinking a little bit more than usual, she'd be like, stop it, Steve. I mean, she did it with Carrie and Charlotte. So I don't think that, again, I think the lure that Miranda has to Che is the fact that Che can kind of go toe to toe with her. Che is not going to be the back down person. Che has a little bit of a backbone, a very loud voice. So Miranda is not used to that. Steve don't do that to her.
Yeah.
It's more like
I don't know if Che wants a relationship with somebody who's new to this world of change, who's transitioning with sexuality and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah.
But those are my predictions for next week. I'm excited. Girl, I love this show so much. I'm so excited about it. I can't believe that there are people out there who don't like it, but I think the episodes just keep getting better and better. And I'm glad they're doing it. And I hope there'll be a season 2. I haven't heard anything. Have you?
No, I haven't heard anything about a season 2. And keep in mind, I'm not like my ears to the pulse about everything that's going on with the show, but I believe that they are going to do a season 2. I did want to mention that you were right about them not knowing beforehand about Chris's allegations because of them having to edit him out at the end.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that they knew about. It's just ironic how that storyline intertwined.
Yeah.
Easier for us to be like, okay, well, Big Zed, so where do we go from here? So yeah, I think they're gonna need a season 2.
I would love to see one. I would love to see more. The lack of
support makes me feel like it's up in the air. I don't know. So
I don't know. Let me tell you something. People are talking about this show, whether they're talking about Chris Noth, whether they're talking about the women and the way that they look, whether they're talking about Samantha. There are headlines all over the place.
It is.
On The Cut, on Vogue, on Cosmopolitan.com, talking about, Miranda and Che. They're talking like this show is making headlines. It is being talked about. That's, that they see that. You know what I mean? And I think there is definitely the girls have been on all the talk shows. They've been out there. I think that they have what they need for a season 2, but that's just me. Their headlines are everywhere though. I mean, I Googled to prepare for today and I was like, there are so many headlines. And in places like, not necessarily the New York Times, but like I was saying, The Cut, all the trendy Buzz, or BuzzFeed and all those, everybody's talking about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
recommend?
it is a huge show. It does have a cultural impact. We are seeing that. So season 2 makes sense. I don't see them saying, well, that was a fun thing. And
I think if the ladies want to do it, they'll do it. So something of wonder said I
I'm sorry.
something of wonder said I love everything about this show. As someone that has struggled with my sexuality and mental health, I love that they're addressing sexuality and mental illness. Yeah, yeah. I am too. I love that they're talking about so many interesting topics on this show. I really, really do, which, again, it leads to people having conversations in their real lives about these things. It makes it at least a starting point to have conversations that a lot of people aren't having. All right, well, we're going to wrap things up right here, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. We will be back next week. And if you missed any part of this, you can go to Nekia's YouTube channel where she posts the entire thing, so you can watch it. And if you've missed any episodes that we've done before this, you can go there and watch that as well.
Yes. Thank you guys so much. And thank you, Jackie. This is always a nice chat.
It's so nice.
Next week and see what goodies that we have in store.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Bye, Nekia.
Bye.